Hello, Barrow tubers, and welcome back to Let's Continue Playing The Lord of the Rings for the Super Nintendo. Another game that I never thought I'd Let's Play, and I'm impressed it's actually going as smoothly as it is. If we can make it through the Barrow-downs, we will be almost as far as I've ever made it on the game. But we'll talk about that more when we get further. For today's episode, we're probably not going to finish the Barrow-downs, just going to tell you right away. We're streaming late into the night, and I just want to get a start. And this place is gigantic, so this is more of a have a look at it, get a bit of a feel for it, and then next live stream, next episode, we're going to really dig into it. But at least get a little bit of a start, see how much trouble we're going to be in. So it's kind of like the Hobbiton Caves. There's a lot of different entrances and exits. This one's not even on my map. Is it just a dead end, maybe? I hope it's just a dead end, because it's not even on my... Oh, yeah. So there's a Barrow White. You can see they're pretty tough. Oh, yeah, so there's a lot of these that are just tomes. That makes sense. Now, I don't know exactly how much damage that one would have done to anybody, or if it got a good hit in. Nobody besides I have taken any damage. I'm definitely going to want to see about how hard they hit and about how much experience they give. But they kind of have that, if you saw, they got that teleport after they get attacked. So, like, they're definitely the most complicated enemy we've run into thus far. In fact, I'm going to try to kill one just because this is kind of an... Well, I was going to say because this is an easy room, but the loading time's kind of bad getting in and out. I want to get a kill for Frodo here, just to get... So, like, look at the numbers here. If I can do it myself, it's 116 XP. This is not working so well. Well, it's dead, so I don't actually even know who got the kill. It wasn't me. I just have to keep an eye on everyone. Like, seriously, I want to know how much these are worth. Alright, math it up. Math time. Put on your science hats. 46 for 116, 30. 46 for 116, 30. It's totally fine. 46 for 116, 30. If these things actually give less experience than an orc, I'm going to be very mad. Because the orcs were 8. Hey, chat's got my back. Thanks, chat. Alright. I think if anyone got it, that should have gone to Mary. So they only give you 4. That's half as good as an orc. That sucks. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's 1 for snakes and bats, 2 for wolves, 8 for orcs, and 4 for barrow whites. Lame. I guess the good news is if all my hobbits are kind of grouped together, we've got enough sort of damage output and like attacks per turn or attacks per second that they don't seem to do a whole lot if we all just sort of spam attack on them. But they're going to come in larger than groups of 1 eventually, so... Oh no, I'm not going to sit there and grind. In fact, if I was going to grind, I'd go back and fight orcs for double the XP. Unless you mean grind in terms of the maze. Alright, entrance 1. Welcome to the Downs. Alright, so I'm going to spend a fair bit of time looking at my map to keep an eye on things. This map isn't too hard, though. I found a key. No ambush? To be fair, by looking at a map, this is going to be considerably shorter and less painful than it would be if you're playing blind, and I really do commiserate, like, if you're trying to play along, I mean, if you want the full experience, play it blind, but, man, you've got to have some gonads on you to do this whole map on this whole area unmapped. Yeah, if you miss that key, you've got a long way to go back. You betcha. Alright, here we go. Alright, someone took a hit. Someone got a level up. Excellent. More leather armor. I'm just curious, but yeah, it looks like Sam got a level up. And now everyone except Pippin has leather armor. I guess the average experience down here will be good, because everything, like if you just fight barrow wights and they always give us 4, that's like 2 wolves per barrow wight, even though it's not as good as the orcs. But now we're split up. I'm definitely less confident isolated. Alright, form up. Excellent. Make a nice little diagonal formation. It's pretty hard for them to fly into anybody. Of course, Frodo is super strong himself, so... Looks like we can finally do that last kill thing, where, like... one of us does some damage, like Frodo hits really hard, and then someone else finishes it off kind of thing. But I'm not gonna try to micromanage every little bit of experience. It's not worth it. I suppose in a sense they're a little bit easier than fighting orcs because they can't parry. They just, teleport. It looks like when they're invisible, they're not invincible. You can still hit them when they disappear. So if you just attack the air sometimes, you might be getting some kills. Alright, this is an exit that leads us back to the overworld. Which exit is this? Entrance 2 is up there. So it's hard to point out. I don't think this one will lead us to anywhere we want to go. 2, 3, and 4. Just hang in there for a second, guys. Sorry, I'm just figuring out where I want to go. Yeah, the Might Magic 7 barrels have got some things in common with this one for sure. Actually, they probably were straight out of the Lord of the Rings book, actually. Whether or not they even knew about this game. So if I go right... I'm not being killed by wights, am I? They generally don't go this close to the fire. Exit. So I wish the map guide I was looking at had better markings for entrances. Okay. Cave 2, entrance 2. Okay. So 3 and 4. So this is actually the escape this is actually the exit you would want. No, it's not. It's the last one. Okay, no big deal. If I took this exit, it would just take me to another little area that loops to the next room. So no big deal, basically. Like, if I'd gone out there, I would have been to a little cave area, and then we would have come in right here beside it. And there would have been no other connections outside, so would have been nothing. Also, hello, Tonic. Welcome to the late night stream. Kind of a oddball live stream tonight, so, you know, a little bit unusual, I suppose. Playing a less common game. Also recovering from the flu, so there's that. Some healing mushrooms. Hopefully the Twitch tubers are showing up on the stream overlay at least properly. Added me a while ago. Yeah, I assume that's probably... Well, if you're talking like Twitch streams... Oh yeah, bats. Always bats. I don't stream all that often, and obviously getting the flu has interfered significantly. But, yeah, I try to get around to streaming. I don't know what to even say anymore. I would like to stream a couple times a week, but man, I just can't promise anything these days. I do it when I can. When I got the energy. Alright, we're back on the main first area map. Somehow a hobbit got here. Yeah, so the snakes in the barrow are poisonous. So you gotta find some moss. Yeah, I thought they'd be worse here. This game is for the Snes. It's definitely not one of the bigger, more popular ones, for sure. It's definitely a, I don't even know if you'd call it a cult classic. It just never really took off. It's not a terrible game by any means, but the Super Nintendo has so many good RPGs and action RPGs that it kind of got left behind. It's got really, really big, mazy maps, so it's kind of uninviting to new players. The way I'm playing it today is actually like keeping a pretty close eye on a map, because otherwise I just don't have the energy to fight my way all the way through it. Alright, this is a sneaky one. This screen is a real sneakery. If you don't rush to the moss, you die quickly. I don't even remember. We'll find out when we get poisoned. I don't even remember how bad it is, honestly. But yeah. We got barrel whites all over the place. I found some gold. I wonder if the gold... I bet you the gold doesn't respawn, but let's find out. Load times are pretty slow for the Super Nintendo too, actually. So you could just farm up some gold if you want, but it's only going to be like 1 or 2 pieces at a time. Yeah, the game... I don't know. I don't think it's a bad game exactly. I just think that if you wanted to play it nowadays, you basically need to have some sort of map to follow along with. That's the main thing. Alright, so that was a gold cave. Oh, there's a weapon up there. Let's see. Just trying to map out my plan here, oh boy. Yeah. Okay, we're gonna do this next cave here first. There's a very sneaky exit to this area. The correct direction is very difficult to figure out without just clicking stuff randomly. I know I figured it out the first time I played it, but it took me a long, long time. Alright, so this is technically the second set of caves. So we entered in on entrance 1, so I can keep track. That's technically the top right of the area. Okay. Mushrooms. Alright, so we got bats. Nobody cares about bats. Ooh, look, moss. So now when we inevitably get poisoned, we know where to go. Okay, so we're gonna go up here first. Unless anything's changed, I'm pretty sure the bats are just one experience, so it's really not worth like grinding on them or anything. I think we got another piece of... When it says 16 pieces of gold, it's just telling you your total. So we're generally just getting like 1 to 3 gold per pile. It's really not that much. Mind you, we still have nothing that we could actually buy with gold, so it doesn't really matter yet. There's only a couple things anyway. Alright, so now we got a larger area. Might as well show you the whole thing, even though I'm looking at a map, I could skip it, most of it. But, you know, I'm kind of curious what monsters are down here, so. This route should just lead us to a mushroom. It's nothing that special, but I kind of have that. I feel like I'm cheating by looking at a guide, so if I cut out all of the combat and exploration, it's too easy. At least if I do it once without extra backtracking, it doesn't take too long and you can see all the content. Until I'm really bored, but... Hey, look, mushroom! You know, one thing the game does, and this, you have to give it at least credit for it, as much as a lot of these twisty, windy mazes, they do have, you know, dead ends, but they throw, like, a mushroom or something at the end. It's not great treasure, but, like, if you're struggling in here, a free healing item is definitely... It's some sort of reward for exploring. You know, it'd be better if you got... And it does have weapons and armor and stuff, so... It's not like the game totally trolls you. Like, if you put in the work to explore, you do get rewards out of it. Which generally means it's one of the better RPGs, but... Sometimes the maps are just so ridiculously huge, it's just not enough. Moria in specific is just ridiculous. Haven't seen any poisonous snakes yet. Hey, there we go. Padded armor is actually not what we need. We need some leather armor. We've got 3 people with leather armor and 1 with padded, so... Not an upgrade. And you can't, like, hold on to your extras to sell or anything nice. Excellent work. There is something about having your entire army all move synchronized that's kind of fun for me, too. I used to play, well, I guess Pikmin kind of had that. This came way before Pikmin. There was a couple games like that where you could, you know, control all your minions and they'd all sort of do the same thing in the same sort of formation. You know, and I liked Ogre battles, stuff like that. So it's always, I've always kind of had a bit of a penchant for that kind of mechanic, I guess. Alright, so all that walking, what we really did was travel back to the first foggy outdoor map to get to a secure area that has an amulet that otherwise we would not have gotten. And that's really the reason we took that route. We could have shaved off a little bit of time if we'd taken the direct route there, but hey, we got a bit of moss and mushroom out of it by exploring it. And now you can say that this cave is fully explored. If I'm lucky, I'll find some barrow daggers and we can see how much better they are. Yeah, Ogre Battle was a fun Let's Play. I'm glad I did that one. I'm glad you guys have enjoyed it. That was, I need to do more Ogre Battle. I have a very warm place in my heart for those Ogre Battle games. And, I don't think they get enough love. Like, the Final Fantasy Tactics and Tactics Ogre series, they seem to get most of the attention. And a lot of people are like, Ogre Battle 64 is just too complicated, or I don't like not controlling my characters, or I don't know, whatever complaints people have. But I think they're great, and I actually prefer them. Like, I like the direct control as well, but they're so unique having, like, general command of units that sort of fight independently. It's such a cool thing. You almost never see anything like that in any strategy games, really. I actually don't think Ogre Battle on the Super Nintendo or N64 are actually very hard. if you're going for a perfect 100% reputation, sure, that's tough, and that takes some careful foreknowledge. But if you just want to finish the game, I don't think it's actually hard at all. You might not get a terribly happy ending, but you'll beat the game, no problem. Like, I'm pretty sure you can beat it with your main lord, and almost never recruit anything. If you find like you'll miss out on most of the quests if you're playing it blind, but you don't need like 5 liches. If you get 1 quest lich, which if you're going the dark path, you will definitely get an undead staff, an undead ring. You'll definitely have a lich or 2. That's enough to beat the game. So this is what actually is a door. You're lucky that Sam is here to tell you, though. Otherwise, I'd have no idea about it. And luckily, we have that key from the beginning. Now, I do agree with Jimmy somewhat that the final boss is pretty tough if you haven't figured out tarot cards or saved up a few tarot cards. But it's really just the final boss, and it's only like if you're under-leveled or don't have the right kind of unit to counter it. But if you have some tarot cards, you can just kill them. It depends on your unit, but again, if you just mostly sold it with your lord, you'll be such a high level, you'll just spam a couple attack magic spells, and Diablos goes down like nothing. I don't know. Maybe I've played it too much. It seems easier for me than it really is, but I've always felt that, like, people saying it's too hard, it's like, nah, it's not actually harder than any other Super Nintendo RPG or strategy RPG. Yeah, the cards are OP, man. You got to use the tools the game gives you. You get so many cards. You got to use them. Lich Princess beats anything. I mean, the only thing, like, the Ogre Battle could use some better balance. I wish the large units had more utility. There are some changes I think they should make, no doubt about it. And there are, like, hidden mechanics that aren't explained well enough, like compatibility between units and stuff. They could have, if they had really ramped up the incompatibility between a princess and a lich, such that they both got like 10% stats by having a super evil and a super good unit, that would kind of make up for the ridiculousness of the lich's, you know, nearly invincible super mage, and the princesses, everyone gets an extra attack. Like, there's ways they could have balanced it better, I think. But, you know, Super Nintendo game. It's just that they sort of dropped it and went for turn-based strategy. Alright, we're going to do like 1 or 2 more caves. This cave's not too bad. We're on caves number 3. There's 8 altogether. If I could get halfway through, that'd be pretty good. A steep learning curve? Well, I would say it's not even that much steeper than other strategy games. It's just because it's kind of unique, there's probably a little bit less overlap. Like, once you learn how to play Final Fantasy Tactics, although there's a few mechanics difference, Tactics Ogre is very similar, so you can sort of transfer over the same knowledge. If you learn how to play Final Fantasy IV, Final Fantasy VI is close enough that you don't have to learn too much. And I think the problem with Ogre Battle in that sense is it's kind of unique. There isn't a whole lot of similar styles out there. I don't know. I just really like the game, and I wish it hadn't got dropped. That's all. So we came in, the exit to the south. We better go pick up this magic fern. Oh, what's this? A letter. Barrow wights that can stray from their tomes are much stronger than the others. Oh. They're weakened by fire pits. Lots of little dialogues here. Well, yeah, getting the good ending. I mean, keeping in mind, I would say that's how most Super Nintendo games were designed back in the day, though. You were meant to play them and then learn from your mistakes, play them again to get extended time. Like, think of Super Ghouls and Ghosts, right? You do not get the best ending first try, ever. It's designed that you have to play it multiple times. You could say that's a negative nowadays, but I just mean, like, for its era, that's pretty standard. And I think a lot of games like, okay, something like Nier Automata, for instance, super awesome game everyone loves, I think. You don't just beat it once and get the good ending. You know, you have to beat it like 4 or 5 times. They're all different, at least. Like, they do a good job modernizing the gameplay and the mechanics, but you are essentially playing the same story. Like, I would like to see an Ogre Battle game by today's standards, where we're a little bit better about explaining mechanics, so you don't have to just guess. And, you know, if you're going to make it very difficult to get the perfect ending, at least mixed up a little bit so that each playthrough has, like, different maps or something a little bit more unique to improve the replayability. Like, that's totally fine. Like, I think it should have all those things. Like, don't just ditch the series, but, you know, add those improvements. Ogre Battle has a very long playtime. Have you seen Fire Emblem 4? Fire Emblem 4 is like 100 hours. Like, not even joking. I mean, Ogre Battle, I think it still clocks in around 40 to 60. It could take longer if you mess around, but one playthrough I think has still got to be 40 to 60. That's not that bad for a Super Nintendo RPG. Sure, if you want to replay it, but I mean, like, I'm a little bit lost here. Hold on, I gotta look at my map. Heading towards a healing mushroom. South. Yeah, it's just the nature of RPGs. A lot of times they're just designed to go many dozens of hours, and that's going to make them not quite right for everybody. Hey, a mushroom, good. Alright. So now we're just going to head up and to the right to get out of this area. There really isn't very much in this current cave. Well, there was a split. I could have gone... Or no. There's no split. I'm just getting the last little item over here. Nothing to worry about. Am I? Or am I lost? No. Just further up, further right. I don't know. There's a lot of Super Nintendo games I'd love to see remade. Ogre Battle is just very high on the list. There are other games I think would make awesome... Would be real nice to see a sequel. I guess Ogre Battle gets me a little bit because the franchise isn't totally dead. Tactics Ogre, Let Us Cling Together got the remake on the PSP not too long ago. So clearly, you know, Squeenix hasn't totally forgotten about it. Hey, everyone's got some leather armor. That's our final piece of leather armor. So, like, there are some RPG franchises that are just totally gone. Like, you're never going to see another game from them. Like, Shining Force is dead. There's zero chance you'll ever get another Shining Force. The team that made it left mad. The current people running Sega are never going to make another Shining Force game. They're into action games and stuff. Like, it's just never going to happen. The closest you're ever going to get is Shining Resonance, and it's not a Shining Force game. So there's no point harping about a sequel to Shining Force 2. But I think Ogre Battle still has a chance. Don't think there's anything up here, just it's kind of a repeated room I just want to have a look at. Now, because I'm looking at a guide, it doesn't seem to highlight letters, so I'm probably missing out on some of the, you know, party chat. Final Fantasy, you want to program a Final Fantasy 1 remake with new mechanics? Yeah, that probably wouldn't be terrible. I have also done similar things like that. That's a bad habit for a programmer, though, is start picking up games you want to remake, and before long you've got half a dozen projects started and nobody that wants to draw art, and that's the end of it, so. But it's always fun to plan. I very much enjoy the planning and prep work for that kind of game dev, but the amount of actual physical work it takes to get it anywhere, oh boy. That's monumental endeavor, unfortunately. Alright, we're gonna do like one more room. So this took me to, let's see, entrance 2 takes you to area 16. Alright, so this area is fairly simple. Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, Unity helps. I don't know. I get a lot more kick out of programming the engine from scratch. Yeah, it's just kind of my own nature, I suppose. I probably enjoy the background processes more than the flashy stuff. And I like knowing how it works behind the wheels more. I've fiddled around with Unity a little bit, and I know it's pretty cool, but I haven't really put the hours in to really get, you know, proficient with it. But, most of my home project games have been just start in Python and just make it do whatever you want it to do, and it's kind of amazing how quickly you get progress on a relatively, like, limited amount of, like, libraries and stuff, because it's not... You just import a couple things and bam, it's just, I don't know. I think I have more fun that way, even if it's maybe not as efficient. If I was ever really serious about game dev, it would be different, but when you're just doing it on your own, you know. I can say I find it more fun in Python, so I'll just do what I want to do on my own. But if you have to work on a team or something, and you want to not waste a ton of time doing everything from scratch, sure, find someone else's project, load it up in Unity, strip out what you need. Yeah, that'd probably be a lot smarter. A lot more people make art that's compatible with your Unity projects for sure. I guess I kind of hate, like, I'm really not a graphic artist. I don't even like playing around in Photoshop to make my YouTube thumbnails. Like, I've learned enough to get through the basics, but I don't really enjoy it. The idea of, like, slapping on light directions and frames and all the stuff you've got to do, it just makes me cry. I don't enjoy it very much. You know, I might be smart enough to figure it out if I have to, but I don't know. I'd rather just look at code. More of a code guy. Yeah, like when I was in college, I kind of detested .NET. It was like, I mean, I'm not trying to be derogatory, but it was just like the cheap, lazy way of doing stuff. And you just trusted that the Microsoft framework would just auto-compile something that worked if you're lucky. But you never know exactly what it did, and it tended to be just spaghetti code. I like the nuts and bolts a lot more than that, so... Not to say there's anything wrong, like, you know, I'm not trying to make a judgment or anything. There's lots of different times where different styles of programming are considerably better or worse. Like, there's always that one kid in class that does everything, like, in assembly or something. Does not mean he's the best programmer. He just, he likes it a certain way. And sure, he can make a program do amazing things in 20 kilobytes, but... the specialized knowledge and the inability for anyone else to figure it out is kind of unfortunate. Oh, just a couple little solo little tomes here to clear out. And I suppose that's fair. A lot of my experience was, you know, trying things out at college, for instance. And so a lot of my formation of, like, what I like to do was back then. And they were very heavily focused on Java at the time in the early 2000s, which wasn't the worst idea, I guess. But so they did things the Java way most of the time. And so you get we did a lot of PHP for web dev and... Java, JavaScript, and all that. It's okay, but... Once I got out of school, I'm like, just trying other stuff out. I'm like, you know what? We should have actually learned how to do it in Python. Like, again, I'm not trying to just, you know, stroke Python all over the place, but it would have been way easier to learn in college, and probably more fun. And then worry about the real syntax-laden junk after that. I mean, there's a reason they don't like to teach C++ right away, because it scares people away. Yeah, I don't actually think I've seen a language that I would prefer to teach besides Python. If you're taking a complete newbie and being like, okay, we're going to learn how to program some very basic stuff. There's very few things that you can just pick up and go. I mean, there are like set up preset structures where you can, like, sort of preset environments where you can do whatever you want. But if you want to just install a basic programming language and just get running in a simple IDE, there's not much better in my mind. Not that I've tried them all, you know. As always, it's been a long time, and there's like a million languages. I also don't see a whole lot of jobs for Python. Like, I can understand why the university's really focused on like Java or C++, because like that's what all the job postings want. They want your .NETs, your Visual Studios, they want Javas, and they want, I don't know, all that kind of stuff. Legends say these stones were placed to ward off evil spirits. This is probably the last screen we're going to do. Because the next cave system after this is kind of crazy, I think. Oh, this screen in general is humongous, yeah. Although we can skip most of it. Because we've got that tome key, we could, I think this is probably where we're going to call it, actually. Well, 36 minutes. I was going to go a little bit longer. This is a really big map. This one's Mondo. And we just have a peek in one of these here. A lot of these are kind of big. This is where the Barrow-downs really gets loopty-loopty. Yeah, I think we're going to end it here, or else it's just going to get really messy trying to keep track of things. This is definitely the meat of the Barrow-downs. The sections we got through already are kind of like the intro. And then this map with no fog is where things get serious. So if I put kind of a save here, and then we come at this another time, it'll be a little bit easier. Because if we get halfway through the screen, trying to remember what we've done or not is just going to make things even worse. It's interesting how easily we've breezed through the Barrow Wights. I wasn't trying to get over-leveled, but it kind of feels like we were a little bit over-leveled. Maybe I just remember them as stronger than they are, but no, we've been killing them pretty good. So, yeah, let's call that an episode. Future tubers, it might be another couple days before I record the next one, but I'll get them all recorded and theoretically have a Let's Play of Lord of the Rings. Crazy. You can also hear my voice is dying, so I definitely need to take a break. Future tubers, see you next time.